Welcome to part 2 in this series covering the Mikrotik Netpower 16P network switch. In the first video, I go through the unboxing and general decisions made in terms of choosing this switch. In this video, I will be covering the setup and the basic config of the switch. We'll be covering items such as connecting in, setting a management IP, setting a password, and then creating a unique user and disabling the built-in admin account. Some of these are not necessary, they're just what I do to secure devices on my network. Over to you, Angry Guy.
Alrighty, so following on from the unboxing, it's time to get set up and do a bit of testing. So, to do that, the star of the show, the Mikrotik Netpower 16P. To connect it to a PC, I'm going to use a 2-meter DAC cable, direct attached copper. My preferred provider of these is 10G-Tech. You can pick this kit up quite cheaply on Amazon. I think this cable was somewhere near £20. Back in my day in IT, you could pretty much times that by 5 at least. The other things are 2 SFP Plus modules. These are going to be installed when it's actually set up. So currently I have fibre running down from the office. It's got a coupler in the comms room under the stairs, and from that coupler it then goes off to the NAS. But instead of the coupler, I'm going to attach these 2 modules, and that is going to terminate in the switch then, rather than a continuous line all the way to the NAS. Other necessary things is the Mikrotik power supply. So, let's begin. I've attached the other end of this cable to my NAS. Add a spare port in there, and we'll go straight in here. Click, good. Then we power the beast up. Go. We can see the switch has started up now. We've got an activity light, and it has successfully negotiated to 10 gigabit. So yeah, looking good. I think the next thing to do is to jump into the web config and yeah, start clicking around to see what we got for settings.
Alrighty, we're now on the NAS. I know the default IP address of the switch is 192.168.88.1. So I'm going to make sure my NAS has an IP address that is on the same subnet. Yep, good. So now let's navigate to the interface IP. Bingo. Okay, this is the splash screen you'll see when an unconfigured device first starts up. Close that. So here it's best to make a note of the MAC address if you're going to use a DHCP reservation. Personally, all my devices have reservations just in case I want to change the IP structure or take them onto a different network. It just makes the whole process much easier. But for now, what I'm going to do is set a static IP address. Check the other settings. Yeah, let's give it a more friendly name. And let's set a password. Just review the information. Yeah, we don't need a gateway. That'll get configured when we receive an IP address in the DHCP server. It'll be in the DHCP options. Alright, let's apply changes. Now, because I've just set the management interface to be on a different subnet, I need to go back into my network settings and change the subnet to match that of the management interface now. Okay, do that. Commit the settings. So now the switch has a new IP address and we have our computer on the same subnet. Let's try and navigate to the management interface. And bingo again. Okay, so we get this splash screen again, but we don't need to configure anything here. So we're going to go into the web fig. This is the full suite of options available this will be dictated by your license level, but this is the one that comes with this switch. So here we can see a list of the interfaces with the transmission rates. Super handy. And now we're going to set a admin account. So in settings, in the left hand navigation bar, down to users, add new, give it a name, just give it a demo account name for the moment, full group, and then set a password. Apply, save it. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, just check on the groups. Okay, yeah, full is the full permissions. So now a built-in admin account, we can just go ahead and disable that. The reason for this is because if someone does obtain access to your network, they can likely guess that the username will be admin for a device and brute force the password. If you set a unique user ID, at least then it minimizes the chance of them guessing the username and then brute forcing the password. Now let's set up the DHCP client. So in IP from the left pane, DHCP client, add new. The interface needs to be bridge because it's for the whole switch. Everything looks fine. Okay, let's just enable that and apply. And yeah, we've got an IP address. This is one I have a reservation for in DHCP. So I input the MAC address and then set it to that IP address, and it has indeed just received it. So yeah, perfect. Now, there was one concern I raised in a previous video, and that is how this switch delivers PoE, Power over Ethernet. I wasn't sure if it was forced on by default, which we would consider passive PoE. Passive PoE doesn't sense whether a device needs power, it just pushes the voltage down the connected device. So if I pick an interface at random here, scroll down to the PoE section, we can see that it's auto on. This means that the switch will sense whether the connected device requires PoE, and it will negotiate the correct voltage that that device requires. So yeah, we can see forced on is an option, but I really wouldn't recommend enabling this unless you're absolutely sure your connected device requires constantly on power over the Ethernet. I know some older phone systems required this. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to select off for all of the ports that there is no PoE device connected to. No real reason other than it's just stopping the switch from trying to sense whether there's a load on the connected device. And here it is in all its glory. So this is currently on the wall. Got all my devices connected in. Ignore my cable management for the moment. I'm going to do some tidying on this. I think there's one more video in this series. I'm going to go into some of the more advanced features that's more specific to my home infrastructure. Things like bonding, for example. Okay, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye.